Villanova.
Okay.
But now I'm like, okay, well, maybe Villanova and Gonzaga. Well, I got a little bit ahead of myself there, but sorry. Potential matchup there.
Potential matchup in the Final Four, yes. Villanova. I like that. Villanova and Gonzaga. Okay.
No, that would be a championship game.
Why am I looking at this bracket wrong? Yeah, you're right.
Know. So let's not get ahead of ourselves, but I would put myself with Illinois now out, putting Villanova in to go into the finals. It's either Villanova. Well, I can't do that. There's no winning. I can't do that. So Illinois is out. I'm out on that other bracket. I still have Baylor to go for. So we'll see. That's going to be, I'm looking forward to that game this weekend. So yes. I will be in do not disturb mode. So again, 9-1-1. But Baylor, they went ahead and defeated Hartford and Wisconsin. And Baylor's number 1. Then going on to go face off Villanova, which Villanova went ahead and defeated Winthrop and North Texas. So Villanova they just went out full steam ahead with these games. There was just like no looking back, and there was no catching Villanova.
Yes.
Whatsoever.
No disrespect to Winthrop and North Texas, but Villanova's had an easier first 2 games compared to Baylor. Baylor played Hartford in the first round. Then they had to play the number 9 seeded Wisconsin Badgers. That's a pretty decent Big Ten team.
The first part of that game, I was really holding my breath because Baylor was not above Wisconsin at the beginning of the game, if I remember correctly.
But by halftime, they had a 13-point lead, so they kind of got some distance between them and Wisconsin. Then the game was even scoring wise in the second half, 34-34. So that's how showed how important it was for Baylor to have that big halftime lead, because Wisconsin evened things up in the second half. But as long as you even things up, that's good for Baylor, because if you don't get an edge from a scoring standpoint on Baylor with a 13-point lead, then there's no way you're going to win, right? If you do the mathematics.
No way you're going to win.
No.
I'm proud of Baylor, and I'm happy. They made me happy, because I was going to have another, like, if that was not going to happen, it was my bracket would have been totally busted on that end. So Baylor. Way
more than it was already.
Way more. Gave me a little bit more hope. They're still hanging on. At least I still have hopes on one side there.
I'm looking for Jay Wright's team to come out and give Baylor all they can handle come Saturday. That should be a fantastic basketball game. Jay Wright's going to have Villanova ready to go, ready to hopefully knock off the number 1 seeded Baylor Bears.
Yes. Oh, so exciting.
That's only half of the bracket, Joanna, the South and the Midwest.
That's only half. So let's go ahead and go on to the West and the East. Break that down. Let's go ahead and leave some of the good stuff there to the end. Let's go ahead and start talking with, let's see here. Let's start with the East. Let me scroll down to the East. So Michigan is number 1 seed. Like, no one's really had a chance. But probably LSU was a little bit of the better game, but Texas Southwestern, no chance at all there against Michigan. LSU was a little bit, kind of give and take for a bit, but then Michigan just blew them out. Now Michigan is going in and facing Florida for the Sweet 16.
Florida State.
Florida State. Thank you, Ed. LSU, you knocked out. They only made it past the first round. Didn't make it out of the second. Colorado, they beat Georgetown. So I actually had Georgetown there to go ahead, and I was hoping for an upset there, and I have a little soft spot for Georgetown, but that didn't happen.
Me being from the DMV, I've got a soft spot for the Hoyas as well, growing up watching Georgetown, but they lost by 23. It was great to see them win the Big East tournament for the first time in a long time. It was great to see Patrick Ewing and the Hoyas get back to the prominence of winning the Big East championship, a championship that not a lot of people gave them a chance to win, but they did win the conference championship, and they were the 12th seed going up against a really good Colorado team who got steamrolled by a much better Florida State team by 18.
I cannot believe that game. I don't remember at what point I started watching that game, and I can't remember at what point I stopped watching. So bad. I was just like, okay, like this is not even a game, Ed. Like, seriously, like a 4 and a 5. I would expected probably a little bit more out of that game.
Leonard Hamilton's done. He's got his guys in prime position down there with the Seminoles. I really love what he's doing down there in the ACC with Florida State. I really think they have a chance to knock off Michigan come Sunday. I really think they can beat Michigan. It'll be a tough one to knock off the number 1 seed, but hey, wilder things have happened in this tournament, right?
So in that area there, in that section, I have Michigan going all the way to the Elite Eight.
Final Four? The Elite Eight, okay.
Elite Eight. But I actually expected LSU. I'm a little surprised with LSU and Colorado. Expect them to go a little bit further in the tournament, but that did not happen.
No, they met the number 1 seed and then met the number 4 seed. They met 2 superior opponents that were much better on those days.
Yes, actually here the better opponents are winning compared to the other side of the bracket. Upset after upset after upset after upset. I was like, oh my gosh, do I even want to keep watching? I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. But we did have some upsets in the East. I know you're going to get to them in the first round. There were quite a few upsets in the East. There were
still some upsets, which then brings me down to BYU and UCLA. BYU, I had them going all the way through the second round, Sweet 16, and that's it. But I wasn't expecting this out of UCLA. And then now UCLA is going ahead and will be facing. Well, let me not go there yet. Let's go ahead and before we get there, let's go ahead and go to Texas too. Texas and Abilene Christian. That was something else.
Yes,
Ed,
it was.
That's a game that kept you at the edge of your seat and you did not want to blink. That was like watching, I want to compare that pretty much to watching I don't know what type of game. Like that's what you truly call NCAA madness right there. That is the definition of NCAA March Madness.
Yes, it was.
That game right there.
That was all
53, Abilene Christian 14 seed against Texas Longhorns, a 4 seed. Talk to me, Ed.
Just defense, 53-52. Looking again more at the stats, what impressed me by Abilene Christian, 20 offensive rebounds to just Texas's 5. Wow. And they were down 28-23 at halftime. They made their proper adjustments. Abilene Christian did. Outscored them 30-24 in the second half. And that's how they escaped with a 1-point victory. They went in that locker room and said, okay, we're down 5. The game's not over. We still have another half of basketball. And they rallied in that locker room. And they galvanized themselves, whatever they needed to do in that locker room, Joanna, and they came out and knocked off the number 9 seed, the number 3 seeded Texas Longhorns.
That was, wow. Just wow.
Knocked off a top 10 ranked basketball team, number 3 seeded in the East, but they were the number 9 team in the country coming into the game.
Yes.
Now they're home.
But there wasn't enough to go against UCLA.
No.
And that outcome was a 67-47, a total 20-point difference.
What you do in one game necessarily doesn't transfer over to a second game. That's why you have a different opponent, different matchups, and different results. You get beat by the Bruins by 20.
Yeah, the Bruins, the Bruins are definitely out there to prove something. They're making it a lot further than what was expected, I think, out of any of us watching, unless you're probably a true diehard UCLA fan, but but any of us looking at our brackets and really digging down to how we do that, I'm like, not an expected outcome to be of UCLA.
That's why it's labeled March Madness for a reason. Things like this happen. Number 11 seed gets to take on the number 2 seeded Alabama Crimson Tide on Sunday. And that should be a good game as well. Alabama, my goodness, they look really strong. They blew out my Maryland Terrapins by 19. They just rolled over them like it was nothing. And my Terrapins beat the number 7 seeded UConn Huskies by 9 in the first round. Alabama runs by Iona by 13. And then Alabama just slices through Maryland like they weren't even there. And remember, Joanna, that's a team that Coley Harvey, you and I and Coley talked about. Alabama could be one of those teams that could make a run to the championship, and they look really strong so far.
Yeah, and that was definitely another team along with Illinois to look out for going into the tournament. I will say that I am surprised about UConn. Now, go ahead and being eliminated in the first round. That's the team out there that year after year that you see in the tournament. You see them going in time and time again further in the tournament. And number 7 UConn against Maryland, but Maryland did not stand a chance against Alabama, number 2 seed. Iona, same thing there. It was just too easy for Alabama out there. in this, facing off these two teams going in, and now which you mentioned just now, going against UCLA. So that's going to be, if UCLA keeps playing the way that they have been in the previous two games in the tournament, going against Alabama, I will say that I'm a little bit concerned for Alabama, but don't count them out, because Alabama has been playing phenomenal. They've been playing great basketball.
Yes, should they get past UCLA and should Michigan get past Florida State, that should be a really fantastic game in the Elite Eight for the right to go to the Final Four. If it is Michigan, the number 1 seed against the number 2 seeded Alabama Crimson Tide, Joanna, that should be a fantastic game.
Yeah, that's and I have for the Elite Eight, Michigan going against Alabama on both my brackets. So they're still there standing. They still have a chance. That has not been busted yet. Knock on wood. Where's wood? So let's see. At least that portion standing a little bit of a chance, and that's going to be a great game if we do get to see Michigan and Alabama. On one bracket, I have Michigan at top, and the other one I have Alabama. So we'll see which one makes it there. Thank you for tuning into Inside Sports Talk, where we translate sports to the core. Make sure to continue to tune in every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. as we bring you the latest in sports, only here on KSRN, Arizona. This is some great stuff here that's happening. Oh my God.
And see what we missed last year, not having March Madness. We had that March Madness withdrawal for an entire year.
Oh my gosh, you should have seen me on Friday. Like, seriously, because that's when it all started. I went and I did not pretty much move unless I had to move on Friday, have my brackets in front of me and going like full March Madness galore. It was something. A pretty sight that you missed there on Friday, and not gonna lie. But I am glad that March Madness is back, and it was 2 years since we last had a tournament.
And it has not disappointed, has it? Not in the least bit.
And it's about to get better as we dig into the last part of the March Madness bracket here that we have so far as we head into the West, the Wild Wild West. And
could it be because because the Bulldogs from Gonzaga are in that bracket? A coincidence? Is that a coinky dink? I don't think so. No.
So let's go ahead, and before we get to my guys, let's go ahead and we have our local team, Grand Canyon, GCU, against Iowa. Unfortunately, Grand Canyon, even though they do have a special, place in my heart, they were not able to make it out of the first round. So Iowa again came on top, 86-74. Then Iowa went on to go ahead and face off in the second round on Sunday. Oregon, number 7, upset Iowa. We have an upset there in the second round.
Yes.
Was it Saturday, Sunday, Monday? Monday. And all of these dates are now. I'm like, what took place when?
Yes.
Monday, yes.
But we double back to Grand Canyon. It's great that they came out of the West, the WAC conference, and they represented their conference, the number 15 seed in the Western Conference. It's great that the state of Arizona and Grand Canyon was well represented, even though they lost by 12 to Iowa. Again, that's a number 8 seed. That's a number 8 team in the country. That's an outstanding basketball team in Iowa that they lost to.
Yes.
And then Oregon exacted some revenge. If you want to say Oregon, okay, GCU, we got you. We know that you wanted to knock off the Hawkeyes, but you couldn't. We got you. And they knocked them off by 15, setting up a date against the Trojans from the University of Southern California.
Yes, they
Pac-12 matchup.
Date. Yes, USC, Oregon. But in order for USC to get there, a few things had to happen before that occurred. So we have Kansas that faced off Eastern Washington. So we see that's pretty much did not stand too much of a chance there, as Kansas went on to face off USC, which USC came up on top of Drake in the first round. USC is coming out there with the full force, and these two teams that they faced off, both Drake and Kansas, which we had an upset there. USC against Kansas. USC is 6 seed. Kansas was 3 seed. I expected to, a little bit more of a fight there too, Ed, with Kansas being the team that they have and they are and have been in the past in the tournaments and what we know from Kansas. And that did not happen. 85-51, Ed. 85-51.